Fans can be resistant to change, especially when it comes to the wall crawler, but surprisingly, fans can also sometimes change their mind as well. So here's a list of things that fans used to hate about Spider-Man, but ended up liking. Ben Reilly. The Clone Saga is widely considered to be one of the worst Spider-Man stories of all time, and there are many good reasons for this. Not only did it go on for way too long, but because of this, Peter Parker was also absent from the Marvel vs. DC crossover. However, fans have learned that Marvel's corporate desires to drag the storyline out is what ultimately resulted in the story's failure, and they've also accepted that the core concept of this, as a short story, would have been just fine. And also, the character of Ben Reilly himself can still be a very interesting character, and it's not his fault that he was introduced in such a terrible story. Brand New Day. The Brand New Day story arc came after the One More Day storyline, where Peter Parker and Mary Jane sacrificed their marriage in order to save Aunt May, and to undo a bunch of continuity. Fans hated this, and rightfully so, but this was done because Marvel had been feeling that Spider-Man had been painted into a corner, having nowhere else to go as a character. Some writers have felt this way ever since he was married to MJ, so as they saw it, the only way to fix this was to erase his marriage from history. Divorcing him was seen as aging the character too much, as would making him a widower, so they figured altering continuity was their only viable option. Now, as dumb as this all sounds, and it is very dumb, and as much as it is bad writing, and as much as it's also hypocritical on Marvel's behalf, sadly, they might have been onto something. Spider-Man stories have become much more interesting and fun after the rebooted Brand New Day story arc that followed. Sure, at first fans hated throwing away the past 20 years of continuity and starting over, and yes, they also hated that even the writers were figuring things out in this new status quo as they went along, and yes, they also hated that a lot of it made no sense, but for better or worse, some great stories have been done as a result. The Wedding. In a total about-face to the previous entry, we have Spider-Man's Wedding. At first, many fans agreed that Spider-Man was great because he was a relatable everyman, but when that everyman married a model/actress, he no longer represented the lonely single nurse who loved him. Instead, he became far too removed from his core audience. Also, Peter was essentially Marvel's version of Archie, where Gwen and MJ served as Betty and Veronica. Once he finally settled down and stopped having romantic problems, a big part of his subplots disappeared along with it. Spider-Man going through young drama was much more interesting to readers than a guy going through marriage problems. However, fans were just so irate during the One More Day story arc that it seems people cared more about this marriage than they did initially. And also, while people do like the improved storytelling of post-Brand New Day, most can agree that most of the good elements could all have been done with Mary Jane still as Peter's wife. The Symbiote. Fans are resistant to change, and when Spider-Man first debuted his new black costume during Secret Wars, fans just hated it. So to cure this backlash, Marvel came up with a reason to get it off of him by making the symbiote completely evil. But as a result of this, and with the costume beginning to grow on people, no pun intended, the suit ended up on Eddie Brock, who became Venom. And now the symbiote has become one of Spider-Man's most popular stories ever. Gwen Stacy. Originally, going into her demise, readers were against Gwen Stacy being with Peter. They found her boring and bland and preferred Mary Jane, who was fun and exciting. So in order to solidify MJ as Peter's true love, they got rid of Gwen Stacy permanently. However, since then, younger fans have begun to galvanize Gwen as being the true love of Peter's life, who was sadly taken away from him too soon, even though that wasn't actually the case. Furthermore, she's been given spin-offs like Spider-Gwen and Gwenpool, making her more popular now than she ever was before. Well, there you go. There are some things about Spider-Man that fans used to hate but have started to like. Let me know in the comments if you could think of any more, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and this has been Dave Knows.